Say, neighbor, the preacher's going to preach on how to overcome temptation. Y'all may be seated. How to overcome temptation. Temptation is not as simple as recognizing that there is something that you like doing that you should stay away from. That's not temptation. It only becomes temptation when you are put in the position and you are faced with the thing you like, and you have to say no to that which you like doing. Y'all gonna talk to me? Can I say the word again? Because right about now, you are feeling a little bit uncomfortable about yourself. I said temptation is not as simple as recognizing that there is something that you like doing that you should stay away from. That's not temptation. It only becomes temptation when you are put in the position and you are faced with the thing you like. And you have to say no to that which you like doing. That's temptation. It's not temptation until you have to say no. What did I say? It's not temptation until you have to say no. Turn to your neighbor and say no. Say no. Joseph is doing his job. Joseph is doing his own thing, and Potiphar's wife starts checking him out. Because if you look at the text, it's not what he said, it's what Joseph didn't do. Joseph says, my master has given me everything in this house, and you're the only thing he told me not to touch. So Joseph says, I can't do that. I can't go there, not because of those reasons. Joseph never says, I don't want it. Oh, y'all missing it. Joseph never says, I don't want it. He says, I can't do it. I don't think you're ready for this. Joseph never says, I don't want it. He only says, I can't do it. And sometimes you can want it, but you must have enough sense to say, I can't do it. Oh, y'all, come on, fess up to this thing. How many of you sitting out there can be honest with yourself and say, I would do it? But there are some conditions that keeps me from doing it. Oh, yeah, okay. If I wouldn't get caught, if I wouldn't lose my job, if I wouldn't mess up my reputation, it's not that I don't want it or want to have it. I will entirely lose too much if I do it. Joseph never said, I don't want it. Joseph never said it doesn't look good to me. Joseph says the only reason I'm not going after it is because of what it would cost me. If I do this thing, then I will forfeit where God is going to take me. And I will lose the destiny God has for me. Hello, somebody. You see, listen at this. Integrity doesn't mean I don't desire it. Y'all gonna catch that next week. I said integrity doesn't mean I don't desire it. Integrity means I desire God more than I desire that which is tempting me. And because of God's power, I have cultivated the habit of saying no when I really want to say yes. A lot of us right now would become liberated and free if we'd just be honest with ourselves. I sure want it. Come on, say it. Y'all scared to say it? I sure want it. I sure do need it. I've got to have it. I sure like what it looks like, so quit fooling yourself. Sometimes we stay holy not because we love God so much, but because we lack opportunities. And it's easy to stay holy when you don't have options. Y'all ain't walking with me. It's easy to stay holy when you don't have options. You out here talking about what you don't do. You haven't had the chance to do it. What you don't like. It's never gotten in your face. It's not hard to stay holy when you don't have options, but touch your neighbor and say, but when you're honest about yourself and know your weakness, you have to keep your chain tight. You have to say to yourself, self, don't you move. How can I do this great wickedness and sin against God? I want to know, are there any real Christians in here who can testify that when that special temptation comes your way and you have options, that the temptation becomes a real fight and you have to put on the whole armor of God? Oh, come on, y'all ain't talking to me. And God knows if it wasn't for some exonerating circumstances, you would have slipped back into some stuff, some mess. But God has done so much for you and brought you so far. He hid your shame and he didn't take the cover off your business, so you have too much to lose. You have too much to lose, so don't want it. It's not that it doesn't look good. It's not that the taste has left my mouth. It's not that it doesn't tempt me, but God has brought me too far to turn around. The consequences is going to outweigh the pleasure. Ooh. God has too much anointing on me. So even though I want to say yes, I have to say no. I've come too far. I've had too many dog fights with the devil. Sometimes he thinks he has me, but I can say that I am going to hold on. A few years ago, a man was asked by some drug dealer if they could use his boat to deliver some drugs to Miami. And if so, they'd give him $20,000. Would you take it? The man said, no. They came back a week later and said, if you take these 2 kilos into Miami, we give you $50,000. All you have to do is just take it across the border. Man said, I can't do it. So they kept on upping the price until finally they offered him $500,000 to bring these 2 kilos across the border. Can somebody tell me, what did the man say then? Well, he called the police. The chief of police said to him, I'm just curious, why did you not call us when they made the very first offer? You know what they were asking? He said, do you know they were asking you to do wrong? Yet you said nothing? So they kept on making offers, but when they offered you $500,000, you called us. Why? Why in the world would you finally call me? The man replied, I called you because they were getting close to my number. Come here, somebody. You have to know when the devil is getting close to your number, you better call on My grandmother used to say, Father, I stretch my hands to thee. No other help I know. If thou withdraw thyself from me, oh, whither shall I go? Watch your number. Joseph ran because she kept upping the price. One verse says he wouldn't sleep with her or be with her. The other Hebrew transliteration says he wouldn't even go in her presence. Quiet minds would like to know. Joseph, if you want to be in her presence, why do you go and do your job on a day when there is nobody in the house? Can I say that again? Because y'all missed it. Joseph, if you didn't want to be in her presence, why would you go to work knowing no one is in the house but you and her? See, I believe when Potiphar's wife came close to Joseph, he heard his number being called, and when Joseph heard his number being called, that's when he decided to run. He ran because he remembered the dream that God showed him, and she was nowhere in the dream. So whenever you have a dream and that person is nowhere in the dream, start running. Oh, yeah. Joseph runs. But they are so close together as he's running. I mean, the space is so tight between them that he runs out of his clothes. So that in the midst of the struggle with his weakness, she gets a piece of what is his. But while she gets a piece of what is his, he still has his dream because his dream is not in the robe. But Joseph never goes back and tries to retrieve what she took. Oh, help me, Holy Ghost. That half a man you got, throw him to the curb. That half a piece of a woman you have, throw him to the curb. Throw her to the curb. That half a piece of job, turn them away. Turn them off. You haven't lost anything. Bible says, I've never seen the righteous forsaken, nor his seed begging bread. Listen. Joseph never said she wasn't a brick house. He said, I just can't do it. Joseph never said she wasn't everything a man could ever dream of. He said, look at the text. He said, I just can't do it. Next lesson. Don't ever allow somebody else's problems to be projected into the pathway of your purpose. Can I say it again? Don't ever allow somebody else's problems to be projected into the pathway of your purpose. Isn't it interesting? Look at the Bible. The Bible does not give us Potiphar's wife's name. The definition and description of her value is determined by who she's married to. She has no name. She's just Mrs. Potiphar, so that she is seen only as a valuable entity because of who she is connected to. Which means she already has one issue. And that issue is to be defined by who she is connected to. Oh, y'all mighty quiet. Which means if you have to be connected to somebody to think you are valuable, no wonder you stuck on stupid. History tells us, listen, history tells us that if you were in the position that Potiphar was in, close to Pharaoh, listen at this good, after being sworn in, you were immediately castrated. Because Pharaoh believed you could not be trusted enough to stay focused on him as long as you had organs of stimulation to take your eyes off what he put you on. So you had to be castrated so you would lose your passion and be driven only to work for Pharaoh. Once you lost your independent desire because you were castrated, Potiphar's wife no longer was what Potiphar wanted. Oh. Y'all quiet. Which means Potiphar is no longer attracted to anyone except Pharaoh. And the reason why is not something that's in the dark, but because if Pharaoh told him to execute somebody, he would. He had no mind. He would only do what Potiphar was told by the Pharaoh. Therefore, Potiphar had no feelings, which means he was never stimulated by his wife. No matter what she did, no matter what she wore, she has to begin to wonder, ladies, if she still got it. Watch this. It means more to her than just thinking that Joseph is fine. For in the psychic of her own security, she just needs somebody to convince her that she still has value. So one of the things she does to prove to herself that all is well, that she still has value, she says, "Come sleep with me, Joseph. You are now the head of my house." It's in the text. Joseph says, "He has given me everything except you." Potiphar's wife replies, "Why not sleep with me? My husband has placed you in charge of this household. He has this position. He's lost his passion. When we were first married, he wasn't castrated, but he's working. It's all about the Benjamins now. It's about his career, and he's forgotten to minister to me. And because I'm not getting any at home, I'll take it from a servant. I know you are not on my husband's level, but I just want to make sure that I'm still attractive." I mean, if I'm being neglected, their attention is somewhere else. But Joseph said, that's not my issue. My issue is following what God says. Next lesson. Waiting time is never wasted time. Can I say it again? Waiting time is never wasting time. Because Joseph ends up in jail. And he's in the same spot he would have eventually ended up if he had said yes. Have you ever said to yourself, if I had known I was going to still catch hell, I might as well go ahead on and do what I wanted to do? If I knew I was going to struggle so hard, I might as well keep on doing what I want to do and like to do. But here's the key. Joseph is in the same spot, but not for the same purpose or reason. You see, what you need to focus on is not where God has you, but what is the purpose for where God has you? What is God trying to show me for allowing me to be at this place? Well, here it is. Joseph does not see the exposure of his real gift until he has wrestled with his weakness and walked away from it and ended up in confinement. Joseph's real gift wasn't being a dreamer. I want y'all to catch that. I said Joseph's real gift was not being a dreamer. His real gift was being a dream interpreter. It's not until Joseph is placed in prison in confinement that Joseph discovers what his real gift is. Maybe, just maybe, God has to introduce us to confinement so that we can find out what our real ministry is all about. I'm going to say it one more time. Maybe God has to introduce us to confinement so that we can find out what it is all about.